Hi everybody, this is Barry Schwartz from the Search Engine Roundtable, Rusty Brick. Today is Friday, January 22nd. This is the Search Buzz video recap that we covered the news over the past week that we covered from the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com. The news is not really this structured, so I'm going to go through the news in a fairly unstructured format. It's not going to be grouped in subject matter, it's going to be grouped in importance this week. Just because I'm trying to group some things together, but we'll see how it goes. First I want to talk about how the Gypsy, I think David Harry over at Huma.com, the blog over there, he did a study looking at the search results, trying to understand how personalized and how the search results, how they re-rank based on personalized searches, how that impacts SEO. And overall, his conclusion was that we should not be changing how we approach things, just because it doesn't seem like enough is actually changing for you to worry about it. Let me show you in more detail some of his takeaways. So he's basically saying his initial thing, the top 3 placements were rock solid, as you can see over here. It was the secondary queries that actually were more and more personalized. Are the top 10 stable? Meaning, are the top 10 stable in terms of personalization? When that comes into there, is like mostly yes. The number 4 result typically changes a little bit, but typically yes. So the biggest changes were in these expanded task types of searches, where you ran the first query you ran, and in most cases it was fairly stable, but then you did further queries, then it changed a little bit. So basically, I mean, he's basically showing that currently the personalization does not have that much of an impact on SEO, and you should continue to do what you're doing, making searches on friendly websites, do link building and stuff like that, because personalized search, at least right now, has a less of an impact on rankings than it will maybe in the future. We're not really sure. Also, there was a possible Yahoo update this past week. Some reports over at Webmaster World that were updated that basically are saying that people are seeing updates. I haven't seen more people confirm that yet, but one person who usually tracks that has confirmed that he saw some major increases in traffic from Yahoo. We reported earlier this month that there was a possible update, but that might have been because Yahoo has removed the paid inclusion results from their search results. So that happened earlier this month where Yahoo removed paid inclusion from their search results, which obviously made a little shift in the search results. But now that that's been done a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, people are now noticing, or one person is at least now noticing, another change in the Yahoo search results and more traffic from them. The big news this week from Microsoft, was that they're actually going to comply with the European Union request for them to remove their search data that they collect, which they were previously storing for 18 months, and now they're only going to store that for 6 months. This is obviously a response to the EU's request for them to do so. Google has not made that move to 6 months yet, so this is obviously a major step by Microsoft to go ahead and comply with that. It's possible that we'll see Google make that step as well as Yahoo. Also, in the big category was that Bing announced that they are now making their search suggestions more current, based on trending topics as well as news articles. So, for example, as you see over here, I did a search for AUS and Bing, just typing it, and up came the Australian Open, which is currently happening right now. Microsoft said that they're looking at refreshing that Bing suggestions every 15 minutes or so, based on trending topics as well as current news. Also, Bing seems to be showing related searches by default. So what I mean by that is if you do a search, let me show you right now, if you do a search for digital camera, up comes the digital camera results, but also, as you see over here, you see digital camera brands, digital camera types. These are basically refinements within the search results for the digital camera search that I did originally. I did a search for digital camera up here. I got digital camera results, but now it's saying, what about searching for digital camera brands, digital camera types, digital camera, top 10 digital cameras, digital camera repair, and so on and so on. So Microsoft here is basically showing you search refinements with the actual search results on the same page as your original search. This is fairly new from what I understand. back in the day, Google Sitemaps limited you to reference up to an additional 1,000 sitemaps. So you were able to have about 1,000 sitemaps for one specific site. But that was obviously limiting because each sitemap was only allowed to have about 50,000 URLs. So that limits you on the number of URLs you can submit to Google. But Google has increased that number from 50,000 sitemaps. Basically, you can have 50,000 sitemaps with 50,000 URLs for one site. That basically gives you about 2.5 billion URLs that you can submit to Google via Google Webmaster Tools and Google Sitemaps. This is something we posted today, January 22nd. Earlier this week, we wrote that it seems like Google AdWords has expanded their test. They have a Google AdWords professional program where you can actually take a test and become a Google AdWords professional, a certified professional. And Google has expanded that, or will be expanding that, into 4 different tests. The 4 tests include the Google Advertising Fundamentals exam, the Search Advertising Advanced exam, the Display Advertising Advanced exam, and the Reporting and Analysis Advanced exam. So those are 4 courses that are being given. You can actually see those courses, if you like, on this page over here. And it shows you over here, and on the right-hand side, it has a grid showing you which topic those fall under. Yahoo made some big news this week. They finally are trying to catch up more with Google AdWords. I don't know if it's worth it because who knows what's going to happen with the search deal, but they are continuing to invest a little bit slower, at a slower pace, obviously, than other search engines. But they released 2 major features this week. One is the network distribution feature, which basically allows you to define which network you want to place your bids on, and basically the Yahoo search or Yahoo search network. And then you can say, I want to bid higher or lesser on either of those networks. Or you can turn it off completely. So that's a nice feature that Yahoo search advertisers are very, very happy about. In addition, they give you an easier way to import campaigns either from Google AdWords or from past Yahoo search marketing campaigns. There's a video I posted on January 21st that Yahoo made that shows you all these features. But ultimately, it's basically giving you more control over your ad campaigns. SEO Mods built a new tool called Open Site Explorer. It's basically their way of saying Yahoo Site Explorer is probably going to go away, and we're going to go ahead and build our own tool using Linkscape data, which is this SEO Mods' premier product. It's somewhat free. Let me show you a little bit quickly. So basically what you do is you type in a domain name, say SEOroundtable.com. I could compare that to, let's say, Search Engine Land. Now, Search Engine Land doesn't use a www by default, so I'm going to go ahead and compare that. And it's going to go ahead and run queries right now. And what you see, it shows me the page authority compared to each other. Green, Search Engine Land is purple. And we're pretty much on par in general in terms of all the domain page authority, domain authority. They have way more links than I do, according to Linkscape. They have way more external follow links. They also have more links to the root domain than Search Engine Roundtable. And then it goes through each thing, where the links are coming from per site, based on authority. And I can go into more detail. I can go through different things and compare more and more detail for each one. And it basically is a neat tool that compares things that actually does a lot more than I want to show you here. So there's a nice post over at the SEO Mods blog that goes through this in more detail. So if you want to take a look at that, just go to SEOroundtable.com. We have a link to the SEO Mods blogs, and it goes through all the different reports that is available for that. Also, this week, Google Maps has announced a way to add more real-time content to your Google Maps local listing. Basically, what you do is you go to the local business center, and I'll show you how it works. And you go to the View Report. You do not go anywhere else but the View Report. You would think you have to edit your business listing. You don't. You go to View Report. You stick in a thing over here on the top right saying, I am demoing how Google Real-Time works. And I click Post. And then within 5 minutes or so, it's actually going to go ahead and show up there. I can always obviously delete that, and it'll be gone. And when you see, and I posted an example, I posted now Rusty Brick is hiring, and you can see in this little demo a minute ago it actually posted that, which was pretty nice, and it's a pretty nice feature to have. You can definitely try that out for your listing. Obviously, if you have any coupons coming up, if you have anything you want to release quickly that people are using, people want to know about, and the using Google Map listing is pretty useful to have. On the Google Maps topic, we noticed today that about a couple months ago, we reported that some people were saying that their reviews were being populated to the competitors. So we had a doctor come on there saying that his reviews that his patients left him were being populated on his competitor. I looked again, and it seems like the issue here is because his competitor and him work in the same office and have the same exact phone number. What they do, a lot of doctors here, at least in New York, I don't know how it is in other places, they share offices and office assistants and and administrative staff and the building itself to lower their costs. And I guess here in this example, they're also sharing the phone numbers. They call the main office and they ask for Doctor Who, so and so, and they'll be patched through. What Google's saying is that because they share the same phone number, Google's having problems with it. They're having problems figuring out who the reviews go to. Obviously, this doctor's not happy, but this is the case right now. So who knows what's going to happen with this? Hopefully, Google will make everybody happy, but it's really hard from a technology standpoint to do so. On an interesting topic, remember how we posted about how Michelle Obama had a racist image of them? That's still there. If you do a search for Google Images for Michelle Obama, you see a racist image of the First Lady. But if you do a search now for Jesus in Google, what you'll see is a picture of how Jesus is portrayed with him smoking a cigarette and drinking a beer. People are not as offended by this as you can imagine, but for some reason that's what's showing us the #1 result in Google right now for the term or the query Jesus. Also, last night Google has released their earnings. Basically, everything is up. Their revenue's up. Their profits up. Everything is just up in general. They made 17% more revenue from last year. They're up 66% total revenues from site revenues. They're up 31% from network revenues. They're up 53% in international revenues. Paid clicks were up. Everything was just up, and everything was looking great for Google. Good for Google. We have some more results and information at SEOroundtable.com posted today, January 22nd. Also, funny news from yesterday, which is pretty old news actually, but it's we didn't know about it until yesterday, was that some guy actually went ahead and tried to trademark SEO again, the term SEO. What's different about it this time is that this guy is claiming that SEO does not stand for search engine optimization, but rather he's coining it to go for strategically elevating optimization. Got that? Strategically elevating optimization, as you can see over here. Again, SEO is, hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to get that on there, but SEO, again, is not search engine optimization, but strategically elevating optimization. And I doubt this guy's going to go ahead and win his trademark case, but that's what he's trying to do. Finally, it was Martin Luther King Day this past Monday. The search engine had their various logos. Here's a big, brief skim through of the various logos. Google had their Martin Luther King logo, which was black and white. Some people complained that was black and white. Yahoo had a flash logo. Bing had their back theme. Ask.com also had a theme. Dogpile had their logo, and we posted our logo. And you can also see the past logos if you want by going to our January 18th post at SEOroundtable.com and scrolling to the bottom. So that pretty much recaps the Search Buzz video recap. Again, my name is Barry Schwartz. Thanks for listening. This is the news we covered over at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. Again, today is Friday, January 22nd. Hopefully you guys will see you next week. Everyone, thanks for listening. Be well.